Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Super Review Show's Mixed Bag coming to you live once again from the J Cave. I am joined by my good man, Bill Murphy.
What's going on, folks?
So glad to have you back. And we have a special guest tonight, as always. You know him, you love him. Justin is back. Sorry, Dr. Professor Patrick. Sorry, whatever it is. Justin's here.
Mr. Dr. Professor Justin.
Actually, it's redacted right now.
Sorry, I feel bad. So, all right. But anyways, we have a very kind of a part two topic tonight. But Bill, what is our? Oh wait, how can I forget about this? We the best.
We the best. Hey JT. We the best music.
DJ Khaled.
Yeah. Again, they're not the best music. His music kind of sucks.
It kind of sucks, just letting you know.
But he the best music. We the best podcast.
Yes. But Bill, what is tonight's topic again?
Well, tonight's topic is my sex tape.
Absolutely.
Finally.
I'm so kidding.
Yes. No. What is it, Bill? I'm sorry.
Okay, if you remember last week, we talked about albums that were shelved or postponed. We were there with our new friend, Mr. Vinny Levine.
Yes, shout out to Vinny.
And tonight we're doing the same thing, but with movies.
Yes.
With movies that were shelved or postponed. So we're gonna talk about it. And I am also going to try to tie in the event of movies that got affected because of real life events, because there are a few. Maybe one day we'll do like a whole nother video on that. So
maybe we'll have to wait and see. Of course, as time will tell. So
only time will tell.
Oh yeah, gotta get back in time. So, anyways, there's Back to the Future.
By the way, I think that I actually like that Asia song better than Heat of the Moment. Unpopular opinion.
Ooh, unpopular opinion. One of our highlights. Who would like to go first and list their first couple of or their first pick of movies that were shelved? Bill, you want to go first?
Okay, I'm gonna go first. Okay. Yeah, like I said, tying in with movies that got affected by real life events. Dr. Strangelove.
Interesting. From the 1964 one?
Yeah, 1964.
Okay.
And there was a small detail and then a detail that okay. Stanley Kubrick's classic film from 1964. Okay. There was a scene in which one of the main characters said, a fella can do good with this with a weekend in Vegas. But it was the original line was a fella can do good with this with a weekend in Dallas. So why was that changed? Well, here's why. And the movie ended up okay. The movie was supposed to be released in late November or early December of 1963. So, for those of you who don't know your history, on November 22nd, 1963, President Kennedy was assassinated in Dallas. So that line, a fellow can do good this with a weekend in Dallas. There was I think the movie was actually supposed to open in sneak preview, I think the day Kennedy was assassinated. So in the conventional wisdom of Stanley Kubrick, he decided to postpone it. And also there was a scene that Kubrick was going to take out anyway, but it even means more. There was a scene where a giant pie fight breaks out.
Yes.
We're not kidding. A pie fight.
And it was supposed to be played completely straight, except the actors couldn't stop laughing. And this was all shot on film, so going for a second take wasn't exactly cost effective. So they just cut the scene.
And also, there was a part when the fight stops when they say, our young president has been struck down. So the film, hold on, let me just pull up the release date. So, yeah, because of the Kennedy assassination, Dr. Strangelove was supposed to be released in December of 1964, but because of September of 1963. But due to that line and other things, the movie got released in January of 1964. Did any of you guys know that, or?
That was very. I actually never knew that. I've not seen this movie personally, but I find that very interesting.
Hey, Justin, gentlemen, you can't fight here. This is the war room. That's from that, right?
Yep.
So, yeah, to start off, Dr. Strangelove got postponed because of the Kennedy assassination.
Interesting. Very, very interesting.
There's right here. It says a first test screening of the film was scheduled for November 22nd, 1963, the day of the assassination of John F. Kennedy. The film was just weeks away from its scheduled premiere, but because of the assassination, the release was delayed until January 1964, as it felt the public was in no mood for such a film any sooner. Like I said, during the post-production, one line by Sam Pickett, I felt to have a pretty good weekend in Dallas for that stuff, was changed to a weekend in Vegas because Kennedy was killed in Dallas. And then, of course, the line I just said, gentlemen, our gallant young president has just been struck down. So, yeah, that is the first one. Even though it was delayed by a couple weeks, this movie still got delayed. And this is like one of the rare times, we always go to movies for like escapism, but this is the time when movies and reality sort of combine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So that is my first pick, Dr. Strangelove.
Good pick, Bill. Proud of you.
Thank you.
Justin, do you want to go next?
Yeah, and for movies that got delayed, I think we'll take it from a movie that only got delayed a couple weeks to a movie that got delayed a few decades. The Man Who Killed Don Quixote.
Cool. Tell me more.
So this movie was a passion project of Terry Gilliam, who conceived this movie back in 1989. Went through several stages of various production, but fell apart in parts because of rights dispute with a former producer. Literal acts of God just preventing the film from being made. Casting availability. It's just one disaster after another just prevented this film from ever being made until and there was even a documentary that Terry Gilliam made back in 2002 called Lost in hold on a sec. Lost in I had it. I'm sorry, guys.
No rush. Take your time. Was it Lost in Translation? Am I thinking the right thing?
No, Lost in Translation. That's Sofia Coppola.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. I'm thinking the wrong thing.
Lost in La Mancha.
Lost in what was it? I'm sorry.
2002.
Okay.
That documentary was him being unable to make this film. A film they conceived back in 1989. Then come 2015, he finally has everything he needs to make the film, which he made for $16 million. And he had Adam Driver and Jonathan Pryce. And it ended up only making like $1 million. So all that hoopla for a bomb.
Wow.
Bill, as Batman would say,
Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb.
there you go.
For those of you who get that reference, good for you. I love that movie. Anyways, anything else you want to go off of on the man who killed Don Quixote? Quixote. Sorry, I knew I was going to butcher that. Anything else you want to say for that, or?
I think we're good. I had to step away for a second, so
Is this just curious? Was this pre-Star Wars Adam Driver or post-Star Wars Adam Driver?
This was during Star Wars Adam Driver.
Oh, and during when he made the sequel trilogy. Okay. I wasn't sure. I saw him there. I was like, wait a second. Was this before he got this big break with Star Wars or no? You know what I mean? So
This was after Force Awakens.
okay, like 2016, 2017-ish.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, is it my go now?
yeah, it's your turn, my friend.
All right, here we go. So, all right. So basically, here's the deal. My picks are mainly like superheroes type of movies because that's kind of my wheelhouse. That's kind of the stuff that I know for sure. But since we just mentioned like Star Wars and whatnot, and I'm only bringing this up because when I first found out this movie was going to be canned or shelved for the time being, given everything that's been going on over there at Warner Brothers, Batgirl.
Oh,
Sorry, I know. I
Moment
look
of silence.
a moment of silence for a second because this movie, I mean, the concept art and the promotional images all look pretty darn good. I'm not gonna lie. Me personally, this might be an unpopular opinion. I actually like the fact that they went to the Yvonne Craig Batgirl look, but in a modern context and like make her like her outfit look the way it did. I like that a lot. But as most of you may or may not have heard by now, but this movie was supposed to go to HBO Max, if I'm not mistaken, and it got pushed completely off the release schedule from Warner Brothers DCEU. And I'm not going to make this whole thing about the DCEU moving forward. I'm not anything like that. But what I will say is basically this movie, I was very excited about it because look, we're getting another Bat iteration of something. Who directed it? Joss Whedon directed this too, right?
No, it was the directors behind Miss Marvel.
Oh, those two. Okay, all right, gotcha. Yeah. So I was very excited about it, truthfully. And as for those of you who don't know, Batgirl is Barbara Gordon, who live under a rock and don't really know anything about the comic book world. She's Barbara Gordon. She is Commissioner Gordon's daughter, and she learns about Batman. And word has it Michael Keaton was supposed to appear in the film too, right?
Yeah, which okay, can I point of order? I'm sorry. So they're suggesting that this takes place in the Burtonverse, right?
To my understanding, that's what it was supposed to do. Yeah.
Okay. So the Schumacher movies also take place in the Burton universe, correct?
If yes, I believe so.
Then doesn't the Burtonverse already have a Batgirl?
I could have sworn that they said that we're going to cut off and pretend we're going to ignore Forever and Batman and Robin. I could have sworn that I read somewhere that they when this was all still going on, they're like, yeah, we're going to just ignore those two and bring Michael Keaton in and focus on for the first two, and then Batgirl's going to come from there. That's what I heard, but I mean, I might be wrong about that, but that's what I heard. So,
All right.
I'm just
saying that that's retconning quite a bit.
Yeah, because if Michael Keaton was supposed to be in it too.
Yes.
Michael Keaton was supposed to be in Batgirl because of the way I forget what do you call it? I forget how the specifics of it, but I do know that Michael Keaton's Batman was supposed to be in this Batgirl movie. As he's making his appearance in the Flash still to this day, coming up later this year. So, which I full disclosure, I'm excited to see the Flash. I'm curious to see where that film goes and where they take the DC universe from there. So, but that's a whole nother conversation for another time. But
So
Batgirl,
why did the Batgirl movie get delayed or shelved? Why did it get shelved?
why did it get shelved?
Yes.
Because of a tax write-off.
Yeah, literally.
Can you elaborate on that, Justin?
Yeah, Justin's gonna have to elaborate on that one.
Basically, they wrote the movie off as a loss.
Really?
They told the government that they are not going to make their money back on the movie, and now basically they legally cannot release this movie now.
So, movie studios, maybe with certain things, you should maybe, I don't know, keep your mouth shut when it comes to the government.
Yeah, not kidding.
Am I right, Justin?
I agree. So someone had to bring it up at some point. So
So that's what happens when you lie to Uncle Sam.
yes, and thanks, Warner Brothers. Hopefully,
it's not that they even lied about it. It's that they basically had this blatant display of not having any faith in their product. So they were better off shelving it.
So if DC gets under new leadership, Justin, can they like re-release the film and not can they work on the film now or
legally no? It's not the same as the Snyder Cut. A version of Justice League was released. It wasn't Snyder's version, but it was a version.
It was a version. Ooh.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's just I wanted to get that out of the way. I wanted to get it out of the way for like as far as you know what I mean? Just because someone was gonna bring it up at some point. Let's put it that way. But Batgirl, first pick right there. Sad but true. She's no longer coming on HBO Max at all, or coming out at all. So bummer. All right, let's go back over to Bill. Bill, what do you got?
Okay. We're gonna dive into the world of animation here.
Okay.
We're gonna be talking about a film that is obscure to some people.
Mm-hmm.
It's called The Thief and the Cobbler.
Oh.
You know what I'm talking about, Justin, do you?
Please elaborate from 1993, is that right?
Yeah, but the original.
Sort of.
Okay. It's time for a little bit of a history lesson here. It all started. Okay, they said that the movie was released in 1993, but we're gonna go back way in time here. The year was 1964. The Beatles have just landed into the U.S. The Lyndon Johnson has just beaten Barry Goldwater, and Muhammad Ali has just, or Cassius Clay has just won his first boxing title. Yeah, that's all the stuff that happened in 1964. But anyway, so there was an animator by the name of Richard Williams, who have you ever? Justin, I knew you have. JT, have you ever seen Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
I have, yes, I have seen it.
He actually worked on the animation for Who Framed Roger Rabbit. So anyway.
Oh, nice. Okay.
He wanted to release this movie which was going to be called The Thief and the Cobbler. And he was working on it, started in 1964. It just took a very long time with new script changes in 1973 when Williams commissioned a new script from Howard Blake called Tin Tack. Then that script was scrapped, and many scenes were cut, and a lot of I'm having a hard time explaining this, so just please, little patience here, folks. Okay, one of the things is the film was supposed to be like a silent film, but there was going to be some dialogue. We'll get back to that in a moment, but so what was going on at this point was, I'm having a hard time talking about this right now. Okay, going into the 70s, the Richard Williams didn't really have any money to finance through all this, and he really didn't have a team, because when you don't have money to pay them, and he tried to get more animators, and then finally, like in the 70s and 80s, he finally got financial backing, and he was trying to get funding in the 80s, and then which gave him a $25 million marketing budget, and then this is a lot, guys.
We got nowhere to go. Take your time.
And the film just, okay. So it got new funding in the late 80s, and it finally went into film production for after 25 years.
It's a long time.
And Williams was getting new animators, and yeah, even like during all this, there was dialogue that was recorded by none other than Vincent Price. He recorded his part from 1967 to 1973. And the film actually got released like a month after he passed away. So Williams had experimented with characters being drawn by hand and in many dimensions, and then Warner Brothers signed a deal with the Completion's Bond company to ensure that the studio would be given a finished film. And then they were supposed to finish the film by 1991. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. And Warner Brothers basically did not like it, and they basically let the film go because they wanted it released by 1991. Damn, doesn't this sound like just a roller coaster?
Yeah, absolutely, man.
With all the animation that they've been trying to salvage over the years, and in 1992, the rough version of the film was shown to Warner Brothers. They didn't like it during the screening, and then the studio lost confidence, and they backed out of production entirely. And the Completion Bond company seized control over the film, and then poor Richard Williams was fired from the project.
Wow.
He was fired from his own project. And then on top of that, they lost a bunch of money that was pulled out by Japanese investors. And then this guy named Fred Cabot took over and offered to solve the problems of the things that that Richard Williams did not like. But they turned it basically into what's the nice way to put it? They basically turned it into an absolute shit show. Because this time the film was actually then distributed by Miramax, who is Disney owns Miramax. Am I right, Justin?
I think they do.
Yeah.
Actually, that's
I'm not 100% sure, but I think they do.
they did, but it was one of the Weinstein's companies.
Yeah, and then so they kind of turned it into a shit show because okay, guys, this is what you got to know. This was the 90s. This movie was released in 1993. And the working title of this movie was Arabian Night.
Oh wow.
You know, the title of a movie that was released, you know, the year before, a song that was written in a Disney movie that was released the year before. You guys know what I'm talking about.
Which one, Bill? Aladdin, of course.
So this movie was basically poised to be an Aladdin ripoff. So
Wow.
what happened was, and then they basically totally tried to make it into a Disney knockoff. They added songs. They basically added songs. And then they I remember it was supposed to, I told you it was supposed to be like a silent film, but they put voice actors in it. They put like they put Matthew Broderick in there.
Really?
Yeah, Matthew Broderick to voice Tack the cobbler. And that was his speaking. His singing was done by Steve Lively, who did the voice of him in the Fred Calvert version. And then the thief was then voiced by Jonathan Winters.
Hmm.
And this film was basically, they basically wanted to turn this from a somewhat silent movie to to, you know, a total Disney knockoff. And let me see how the critics responded. It was a commercial failure and it received mixed reviews. And then so this film basically took almost 30 years and it ended up bombing.
Wow.
But then what happened was, and this is interesting, they actually released something called the recobbled cut, which was what the film was supposed to be. So no Matthew Broderick, no Jonathan Winters, no songs. And it was just supposed to be what it was supposed to be, a somewhat silent film.
Wow.
So, yeah, that's The Thief and the Cobbler. I just gave you a whole dissertation on it.
Mm-hmm. That's crazy, Bill.
Yeah, like I said, Vincent Price died before this movie got released, and there was dialogue that he released like 30 years prior.
Wow.
Justin, you got anything to say about this?
I've never seen it, so it's hard for me to really comment on it.
Basically, it sounds like an Aladdin ripoff, but it bombed after 20.
Aladdin. That's the thing.
Yeah.
What was that, Justin?
It predates Aladdin. That's the thing.
You know, the nostalgia critic made a good joke in this one. He goes like, you know what? I would say this was a knockoff of Aladdin, but this was made before Aladdin. And then they took that. Aladdin took stuff from that, and they took stuff from Aladdin. This is the product of animated inbreeding. It all of a sudden makes more sense. All right. So, yeah, that is my very long dissertation on The Thief and the Cobbler. Any questions?
This has been another edition of
With Bill.
Ow! This has been another edition of Random Facts with Bill.
And
Hell yeah.
JT, if anyone can guess what the parody of that song is, what do they win?
So if you can guess whatever that song parodies, you can reach us at 1-800
Got Bill. And you can win
a free, mind you, a free signed T-shirt by Bill himself. True
a
story.
100 Got Bill shirt. And you know what else will you win?
They win your respect.
You
Don't
win
they?
my respect.
Yes,
Isn't
they do.
it the best prize at all? My respect.
Absolutely. Anything else for the Thief and the Cobbler, gentlemen?
Nah, I think I'm good.
All right, Justin, you're up. What do you got next?
All right. So we all love Spider-Man, right?
Oh, I love Spider-Man.
Spooderman.
Yeah. We all like James Cameron, right?
Oh, I think I know where this is going.
I typed it wrong. That's okay. Go on, Justin. Talk to us. This actually almost happened.
Okay. Back in the early 90s, there was gonna be a James Cameron directed R-rated Spider-Man movie. Apparently it was going to have Leo DiCaprio as Spider-Man,
Wow.
Arlie Ermey as J. Jonah Jameson,
Wait, who has J. Jonah Jameson?
Arlie Ermey.
Oh, the
Yes, the drill sergeant,
from Full Metal Jacket. And who was supposed to be Spider-Man? I'm sorry.
Leo,
Oh, okay.
90s Leo.
Mm.
Lance Henriksen as what I believe is Electro. Robin Lively as Mary Jane. Michael Biehn as who I'm guessing is supposed to be Sandman. And Arnold Schwarzenegger as Otto Octavius.
Wow. You want to talk about something crazy?
So basically, in 1985, Roger Corman had the option for Spider-Man, but it expired. So then Marvel Comics optioned it to Canon Films. They optioned it to a few directors. Toby Hooper was one of them, but that fell through. They eventually met with James Cameron, and he had some interesting ideas. One of the few ideas he had was organic web shooters. That came from him. Back there was a bunch of stuff that kind of came from him that eventually went into the Raimi movies. Like, it wasn't genetically modified spiders, it was genetically modified flies that one got eaten by a spider, and then that spider bit Peter. As I mentioned, it is R-rated. There is F words and sex.
Mm.
In fact, at one point in this movie, Peter makes a web bed for him and MJ to bang on.
Oh.
So he basically had a James Cameron basically had a 57-page scriptment, which is part script, part treatment.
Everything all right?
The climax is supposed to be at the South of the World Trade Center,
Oh wow.
and it would have had Peter reveal his secret identity to MJ.
Oh.
That would have been a bit. Well, that happened in Spider-Man 2, but having it happen had this movie get made, that's another thing too. So
Yeah. Oh, and the place where Peter and MJ bang is on the Brooklyn Bridge.
not bad place, but and that's crazy. This just sounds. It's so James Cameron and it's so rated R. It almost sounds too good to be true. You know what I mean?
Let's see here.
Did he write the script for it too?
He wrote a scriptment.
Okay. Like nothing permanent though, nothing crazy enough to stick.
Yeah, like I said, there were some ideas that stuck. The whole organic web shooter thing that stuck. The kiss, I think they got it from here.
Did they get wait, who'd you say for J. Jonah Jameson?
R. Lee Ermey.
The drill sergeant from Full Metal Jacket.
Oh, and
Oh wow.
Octavius was only going to be like a cameo. He was apparently going to be set up in a similar way that Dylan Baker was being set up as the Lizard in the Raimi movies.
Okay. All right. Doesn't sound too bad. I mean, it would have been something to see back then, especially because back then you got to remember too, the late '80s into the '90s, DC was. This sounds almost opposite today, but DC was hammering Marvel at the time. Marvel's like, oh, they had a Dolph Lundgren Punisher movie. That was it. And then it's the complete opposite from like 2000, like 1998, 2000 up. It was like Blade, X-Men, Spider-Man. That was like these are actually really cool movies. But of Marvel characters. And the DC in the 1990s, I hate to see your thunder on this one, but in the 1990s, it was like all like the Batmans and the Supermans and the, and other characters like that. So I find that crazy,
Yeah. Essentially, the reason why this never got made was, basically in 1996, that's when Carol Co., 21st Century, and Marvel, they all went bankrupt.
Really?
Yeah. So a quit claim was placed on the film. MGM acquired all of their film library and assets and received all rights in and to all drafts and versions of the screenplays for Spider-Man written by James Cameron, Ted Newsom, John Brancato, Minimum Gollum, John Michael Paul, Ethan Wiley, Leslie Stevens, Frank LaLoggia, Neil Ruttenberg, Barney Cohen, and Shepard Golden, and any other writers. Basically, it just became this huge legal shit show.
Wow. That's crazy.
Wow.
Also, the villains would not have worn costumes. I don't know. I guess Cameron has something against costumes.
It just sounds like a developmental nightmare, truthfully. You know what I mean?
I mean, it was probably going to be expensive as fuck.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was. It sounded like it was going to be, expensive.
I mean,
Also,
yeah, what's up?
this movie was also the reason why Sandman and Electro never appeared in the animated series in the 90s. Because James Cameron were going to use those two as the villains.
Okay.
And they had the rights, and Fox didn't. Is that correct?
Yep.
Very interesting stuff, man. It's funny if for those who are watching us, if you want to go back on our YouTube channel, I think about 2017, we actually did an editorial video about this specifically, and as well as one other one, as well as Batgirl, and as well as one of my next pick personally. But this was one of the ones we talked about for like 20 minutes. As a buddy of mine, Justin, you might actually like get to know him. He's a huge fan of like these unfinished projects, like we're talking about, or shelf stuff. So, particularly in the superhero genre too, like for Batman, Superman, whatever. So, yeah, one day I'll have to when we're all together though, we'll have to talk about this stuff because it'd be nice to get together and talk about that. But yeah, no, good pick though, man. Seriously, any other comments for James Cameron's Spider-Man?
So because of so again, the reason why you never saw Sandman or Electro is because James Cameron and them had the rights.
Yeah, he had the rights to the characters, and he didn't want the animated series to use them because I guess he didn't want to confuse people. I don't know how these people work like this.
So basically, the bottom line is they couldn't get the rights to Spider-Man. That's why this movie never happened.
There was like legality issues. There was financial issues. There were a lot of issues.
Okay, I think I'm satisfied.
All righty, cool. Is it my turn now?
It is your turn, my friend.
All right, so I don't have a lot to talk about this specifically, but I feel like Justin can chime in on this in a second more than I can. But I want to bring it up for what it's worth. At one point, yes, this for those who are listening to us, for those who are watching us, just hear us out for a sec. At one point or another, Bill Murray was going to be Batman.
Okay.
And I only know this because as I just mentioned, we did an editorial video about this, I think a couple years ago on our YouTube channel. Check it out. But this is a Justin moment. This is my pick, but I'm letting Justin hijack it because of what specifically goes on with this. So Justin, Bill Murray was supposed to be Batman at one point, correct?
Yes. In 1983, there was a Batman movie being planned. All right, now keep that date in mind. 1983.
Yep.
Some stories did not come out yet to really form Batman into what he is today in 1983.
Correct. Yep.
So in 1983, Ivan Reitman was planning a Batman movie, and it was going to feature Bill Murray. It was also going to have Eddie Murphy as Robin.
Yep, that's correct.
That would have been interesting.
Very.
So, also, I was going to have Adam West as Thomas Wayne. And other members of the Bat family. Dick Grayson, Barbara Gordon, Silver St. Cloud, Jim Gordon. Although Jim Gordon was renamed David Gordon for the movie for some reason. He wanted David Bowie for the Joker.
Can I be honest with you? I feel like
Go
that would have
ahead.
worked. I feel like that would have worked, truthfully.
It would have been interesting.
I mean,
It would've
it may not have worked as much as Jack Nicholson or
It
Heath
would
Ledger,
not
but
have been the Joker, but it would have been interesting.
he was kooky enough to do it. I just said kooky, I know, but still think about that. So,
But it definitely sounds like it was going to be more of a comedic take of the Cape Crusader.
so like Batman 66 2.0.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Which
plus-
in the 80s, I think could have worked a little better than what they did in the 90s.
I mean, if they wanted to switch actors, they could have gone to Bill Murray then, but still, you know.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm glad I brought this up, and I'm glad you filled in because I was curious to get your input on this because I only know so much. And that video we did was in 2017. So we did an editorial video about this topic specifically back then. So, I mean, it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a movie I know a whole lot about, but it's an interesting one.
Yeah. So, true story, everyone. Bill Murray was supposed to be Batman. But what happened instead was it was 1983, and then next they shot the movie Ghostbusters, and history was made because that came out in 84.
Yeah.
Nothing against Bill Murray as Batman, but still, if you think about that for a sec, that's a crazy pick. So, but yeah. Any other Bill? Do you have any comments for Bill?
No, that was Tim Burton supposed to direct this or no?
Oh yeah,
No, this is going to be directed by Ivan Reitman.
Oh, so it would have been a comedy no matter what.
So what really made it go down again? Just
I guess it just fell through. Like they just kept I guess I didn't get the actors or the script wasn't good or I don't know what happened with it. It's not a well-known movie. And again, this was before Batman Dark Knight Returns came out. It's before Batman Year One, before Infinite Earths. Jason Todd was still just a Dick Grayson clone. It was a different Batman. It was a pre-crisis Batman.
Pre-crisis Batman?
Yes.
Yeah, pre-crisis and Infinite Earths is what he's talking about.
Yikes.
So that's still, I mean, the 70s was one thing. You're talking about the early 80s. That's still not quite campy Batman. Like, golly, Batman. It's not that kind of Batman, but it's like getting out of that a little bit.
It's still the Denny O'Neil, Neil Adams Batman.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with him specifically, but I do know that back in the mid to late 80s, before Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns, they were trying to make the Cape Crusader look different, like on page compared to kind of get back to his roots, if you will, which was a good step. So that's how we got the movies we got with Michael Keaton. So, but yeah, any other comments for my pick of Batman with Bill Murray as Batman?
No, I think I'm good.
Justin, you got anything else for it?
I'm good.
All righty, back over to Bill. And I have one more pick, just so you guys know, but let's jump over to Bill. So, Bill, what do you got?
Okay. Ooh, I got. Wait, are we only doing one more pick, or because I got?
No, I have one more pick, but if you want to do two more, or whatever, go ahead.
I got two more. Okay. Oh God. Damn it! I have three now, but I'm thinking about one of them needs to not make the cut. So
talk about all three. It's fine.
Okay. My first one, you know what? Since we talked about James Cameron,
yeah,
I think it's only appropriate that we talk about Avatar.
Why?
Don't worry, we'll make this quick, I promise. JT, I know you like it, but Justin, should you tell him or should I tell him?
I think we should both tell him.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
We don't like it.
Like Avatar.
All right. I don't really care either way. So
Yeah, but anyway, this film basically took forever to make.
the first one?
Yes. I do know that. I know that about both of them.
You know why James Cameron actually wrote the first treatment for Avatar in 1994.
Yep.
And
Truth.
in 1996, he announced that after completing Titanic, he would film Avatar. And he was going to use of synthetic and computer generated actors. The project would have costed over $100 million.
And that was a lot of money back then.
6 actors in lead-in roles who appeared to be real but do not exist in the physical world. And so I'm guessing because of so they were going to begin production of it in mid-1997 for a 1999 release. However, Cameron did not think that the technology had caught up with the story and the vision that he intended to tell. He wanted to refine the documentaries and cover story that 20th Century Fox had fronted $10 million to film a proof of concept clip for Avatar, which he showed to Fox and executives of October 2005. In February 2006, Cameron revealed that his film Project 880 was a retooled version of Avatar, a film that he had tried to make years earlier. Citing the technological advances and the creation of the computer-generated characters. And then from January, the script was worked on from January to April 2006. And then designers were met from 2005 to 2007. And filming began in April of 2007. So 10 years it took.
And they filmed it for a long time too. You said they started filming in 2007, you said?
They started filming in April 2007.
And they released it in 2009?
Yep.
Oh my God, that's a long time.
Yeah, and then it was finally released in December 2009. So this movie literally took, from the time it was conceived in 1994, this took 15 years, but it kept being delayed because Cameron thought technology wasn't caught up with. Was those 15 years worth it, Justin?
Nope.
All right, you know what? I'm going to say it, because if I say it, no one else will. It's 3 hours of James Cameron shoving his ego in your face. Agree, Justin?
If I wanted 3 hours of James Cameron splooge, I would have just gotten James Cameron splooge.
Oh my God.
It's like, I can do this. I'm James Cameron. It's 3 hours of James Cameron shoving his ego in your face.
Oh my God. And it's even crazy that they're shooting the next like 2 or 3 of them. It's crazy.
The third one's already shot.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. They're going to drop.
When does the third one come out? This year or next year?
Next year, I think.
So, yeah, it took Avatar 15 years from its conception.
That's crazy.
Any questions?
Any comments?
Any concerns?
Sold to Justin. What do you got next, bud?
Okay. JT, are you ready for this?
Oh God, is it Green Lantern? No, I'm just kidding.
Uh, this is the one that we discussed before.
Oh boy. All right, go ahead. Lay it on me, bro.
Okay. The year was 1970. And Jerry Lewis made a little movie called The Day the Clown Cried. Bill, are you familiar with this movie?
Vaguely, I did see this on a list of movies I was thinking about.
So, the plot of this movie is of a Jewish circus clown who got caught in the Holocaust, sent to a concentration camp, and was used by the Nazis to lead children into the gas chambers.
Oh boy. Ooh. Ooh.
You can see why this movie got shelved, right?
Even today, it wouldn't fly.
So did it ever get released or not? Or never got
No,
released?
it never even got finished. I think production got halted before it could be finished. There is no complete print. The most complete print is in the possession currently of the Library of Congress, but they are not allowed to screen it until 5 years after Jerry Lewis's death, which is 8 years after Jerry Lewis's death, which is 2024.
So next year.
Yes. That's when they are allowed to screen it. That doesn't mean it will get screened.
That's actually very interesting.
Jerry Lewis swore that no one would ever see this movie as long as he was alive. Now he's not alive. Nothing's really stopping him but the people who are in possession of the movies.
I'm looking this up right now, Justin. Did you know Jerry Lewis actually asked for, why don't you try to get Sir Laurence Olivier? I mean, he doesn't find it too difficult to choke death playing Hamlet. My bag is comedy.
Yeah, he did say that.
Wow, this is intense.
Heavy topic, but it's worth bringing up too if you think about it.
Yeah, and no, I saw it on a list of movies when I was doing my research for this.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't get a chance to read it, but yikes.
Yeah.
Big topic here. And look, just for those of you listening to us or watching us, look, we're known to get silly on the show. Yes, I said silly. You know, we're bound to get like funny, but when we get serious, we get serious. I mean, for Christ's sake, when I went off, and I'm just going off a tangent for a sec. When I went off and I really bagged on Netflix's 13 Reasons Why. You can go look up that video. I don't care what you think about it, but go look it up. I thought that show was a travesty, and it just shows that we're not afraid to bring up serious topics. And the Day that the Clown Cried is a very serious discussion topic for us as far as movies go. I mean, it's not like we don't do this to make you feel uncomfortable. We don't do this to make you feel upset. We do it because we care about our audience. We care about our community, and we care that this is a very important show and topic for us, and we want to bring it up. So for all you trolls out there who are saying, well, clearly, relax, stop. We're bringing this up for a reason. Just want to put that out there.
We're not bringing this up to get on some type of soapbox. We're just
No, and we're bringing it up for our reasons because it's a film that never got released, and Justin was just talking about it, and I just wanted to put my foot down and be very sincere with people and say, look, this is a very serious topic for a lot of people nowadays, especially, and we don't want to get in the rub off the wrong way.
The reason why it didn't get finished, Justin, is from that quote I just read. Did Jerry Lewis just say, you know what? Screw this. I'm done. I don't want to do this movie.
No, believe it or not, no. That was just from more hindsight. The writers was not happy with the finished product because they were the original writers of the book or whatever, the original script, and they blocked the release.
They blocked the release.
Yeah. And the movie was in litigation limbo ever since. I guess no one just wants to touch it.
You need someone to proof screen it first. You need someone to actually watch the footage and see if it's and look, Schindler's List is one thing, but if I don't know, you know what I mean? It'd be like a sensitive thing to show in theaters. Yeah, I mean, I feel like if you release it today, it would have a two-pronged effect. Either A, it would be like, oh, all right, this is what they were thinking back in the 70s when they made this movie, or back in the day when the subject matter was, or B, there's going to be a legion of new people be like, why would they release such a stupid, not stupid, but why would they release something that's controversial or whatever? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm getting uncomfortable.
It's funny because Jerry Lewis talked about how this movie just got this legendary status because of how unknown it is. And people just have this expectation in their mind that this movie is either going to be Citizen Kane or the worst goddamn thing they ever saw in their life.
And it all depends on if they want to release it.
Yeah, and that idea actually kind of tickled Jerry Lewis too in his later years.
What was that, Justin?
Like that idea that people had of the movie being either an amazing movie that's ahead of its time or the worst thing ever put on celluloid. That idea really tickled him.
Let me ask you a question here.
Sure.
Do you think they're going to release it, or do you think they're saying, you know what, let's keep this thing hidden forever?
Honestly, I'm leaning towards the latter.
Let's keep this thing hidden forever.
Yeah.
And why do you think they're going to keep it hidden? Just because of the subject matter, or?
I think subject matter and the fact that it's just not finished.
That's a fair point too.
Yeah, and I'm actually I'm reading right now the plot of it, and the ending sounds yikes.
Yeah.
But you know what? As uncomfortable it is, I do think this was actually very interesting. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
And it's funny because the reason why Jerry Lewis said yes to this movie is because he thought it would help bring awareness of the Holocaust to people. Back in 1970, I guess the idea of the Holocaust happening was not as widely accepted as it is today.
Because once you think about it, it was a very taboo topic back then. Because I don't think, but then, a few years after this film was supposed to come out, you had, what was it? Was it Sophie's Choice?
Right.
And then going into was Life is Beautiful the 80s or the 90s?
90s.
The 90s.
Then you had, you had Schindler's List and Life is Beautiful. So, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, JT, please tell me you have something
Lighthearted.
or lighter.
Darren Aronofsky's Batman.
Oh God. Well, I mean, you could look at it that way, but yes, I can't believe we're doing this. But yes, Justin, I got because this was a difficult one for me. But I'm gonna say Justin. I was about to look up Justin's own movie. He's looking for his biopic right now.
Don't look that up, please. No, no one.
No, of course not. Of course not. Of course not. But no, but true story. Batman Year One was supposed to be a movie by Darren Aronofsky, if I can type the thing at all. Darren Aronofsky. So for those of you who know the Batman Year One story, good for you. You're ahead of the game. This was supposed to be a movie. I don't know what year was this supposed to come out. Do you remember offhand, Justin? It was like the 2000s.
This was like 2001 or 2002, something like that.
Okay.
This was after Batman and Robin became a bat bomb.
Yeah, this is after the Batman and Robin travesty that we had. But I will say there were certain elements that I liked. I mean, if you're listening to us, just Google Batman Year One and you'll see the costumes that he went through as a character of Batman. He had different styles. It was much more the Bob Kane, Bill Finger costume. Truthfully, if you know that, good for you. There's a lot of good elements there. This is where my lack of knowledge happens. Justin, who was supposed to play Batman again?
I think it was Christian Bale.
Was it really?
I think so.
Are we sure it wasn't Joaquin Phoenix?
It might have been. I'm not sure. Like I heard a lot of things.
Okay, because there's a lot going into this, but yeah.
I also heard that this version of Batman was supposed to be like a street rat instead of a billionaire playboy.
Okay.
And that Alfred was actually going to be just Big Al, who was like a car mechanic.
Right.
Like there was some things about this iteration that I was just not digging.
Mm-hmm.
That I'm glad that they went in a different direction. It would have been interesting to see an R-rated movie, but as we all know, that is never going to happen. An R-rated Batman movie.
No.
It's just Warner Brothers is just never going to do it.
No, they never will. They never ever will. Unfortunately, I mean, maybe for a direct to HBO
thing you'll get, and Zack Snyder's Justice League.
That's actually pretty accurate that you say that. How the Batman we got in Batman v Superman, and also in Justice League with Ben Affleck, I feel like that was the most accurate representation of Batman we could possibly see on screen. Truthfully, I mean, it was say what you will about the movie. I feel like that Batman though was still like the Batman, not the Batman in the movie, but like with Robert Pattinson. But that was pretty close.
I will argue with you on that because I don't think Ben Affleck's the definitive Batman. I think he's a very good Batman. I don't think he's the definitive though. I think we still yet have gotten like the definitive Batman. Yeah. Was
Robert Pattinson that though? I mean, he was pretty close. No,
he's on the road to being it.
Like I remember it clear as day when they just want to say this when they first said Robert Pattinson is going to be Batman. I was like, "There's Twilight, Harry Potter, this guy," and sure enough, were we wrong? So
see, I had a lesser reaction. I was like, "Wait, what? Wait, actually,
But yeah, no, that was my last pick of the night. It was Darren Aronofsky, Batman Year One. By the way, we did do a editorial on this, I think in 2017 on our YouTube channel, the Super Review Show. Check it out if you want to check that out as well. We went much more in depth with it. It was going to be like a different type of costume and whatnot as well, different style, different actors. It was very interesting how we broke that down. It was like a 20-30 minute video we did truthfully too. So check that out on our YouTube channel If you haven't already, it was a couple years ago. Called Darren Aronofsky's Batman Year One. Yeah, check it out. So that is my last pick of the night, gentlemen.
So Darren Aronofsky Batman. I think that would have been interesting.
With
Yeah,
the
man.
script written by Frank Miller.
Oh, even better.
That would have been such a gritty film, wouldn't it?
Now, keep in mind this is a pre 9/11 Frank Miller, so he has yet to write Holy Terror, so he didn't lose his mind yet.
Right, that's true.
So this is just crazy cool Frank Miller, not crazy Frank Miller.
This is like apparently like the end of the line of like crazy cool Frank Miller.
Mm-hmm.
Not crazy Frank Miller.
Not crazy Frank Miller, because I don't think All-Star Batman and Robin or The Dark Knight Strikes Again had come out yet.
Yeah.
JT, you can correct me if I'm wrong.
With what?
When did All-Star Batman and Robin come out, and when did Dark Knight Strikes Again come out?
There's this thing that Bill likes to refer to called the internet.
And you currently have it up. That's why I'm asking you.
Boom.
Oh. Strikes Again was in 2001 to 2002.
Okay, so that was right at the 9/11.
Right at that time. Oh, no, it was December 2001 to July of 2002. So right after September 11th.
And what about Asbar?
Hey, what is that called again?
The abbreviation's Asbar, but it's called All-Star Batman and Robin.
Oh, okay. Hold on one sec. That was back in 2005 to 2008. So no way.
That's when Frank Miller really lost his mind.
Jeez. That's crazy.
That is insane.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no, good stuff right there. But those are my picks. That's all I could really think of, truthfully, as far as like movies that were shelved, or actually, well, we talked about franchises that we want to see return to theaters. I have one more when we get to, but let's go back to Bill for a second.
Okay,
Bill,
I got two more. Do you want me to go them two one more time? We're gonna go one more round after this. What are we doing?
why don't we go you, Justin, me, and then you go finish it off.
Okay. So I had talked about this before. Actually, no, we'll save that one for last.
Okay.
JT, this is God, I thought only two movies were going to tie into this topic. I thought more movies were going to tie into this topic, but there's another one when I said movies that were affected by real life events. So you know what? Maybe we'll just do a whole episode on that. But anyway.
Coming soon.
Ever heard, JT, and Justin, you've seen this movie with me before. Have you ever heard of a movie? It came out in 2013. It's called Gangster Squad.
Yeah, why?
Yes. Oh God. Oh God. Oh no.
What about it?
This movie actually
When did you watch The Dark Knight Rises? Did you see it in theaters when it first came out?
Justin, this is my movie.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Bill. Sorry about that.
Okay. This is a little bit of a darker topic, but here we go. The movie was supposed to be released in October of 2012. But okay, here's what you gotta know. We first saw this trailer to the movie The Dark Knight Rises that came out 3 months prior in July of 2012. And if anyone doesn't know what happened on opening night of The Dark Knight Rises in Aurora, Colorado.
Yep.
Yeah, because, okay, there was a scene okay, for those who don't know what happened in Aurora, Colorado that night, that's when James Holmes came into that theater in Aurora, Colorado and shot the place up. And there was actually this movie it actually caused this movie to be released because there was a scene where somebody comes in and shoots up a movie theater. But because of that, they actually had to go back to the drawing board and cut that scene. And I think they had to reshoot it, Justin. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
And they had to reshoot this. They had to put another scene in there because they thought it would have been in bad taste regarding the events of the Aurora shooting. And because of that, the film got delayed for 3 months and it got released in January of 2013. So, yeah, that was a big reason it was delayed. Justin, you got anything to say on this?
Yeah, I remember watching that trailer.
We were watching that trailer together because we went to go see it that night, remember?
Yeah, and we thought, hey, that looks cool.
Can't wait to see it.
And yeah, that was the most memorable part of that trailer.
And that, because of that, they had to take it out of the movie and reshoot the scene and do something else. Wow. So, JT, you have anything to say on this?
I remember when the movie came out. I don't remember seeing it. I saw The Dark Knight Rises in theaters as well. I just didn't see. I don't remember seeing this trailer though, personally, but I do remember the movie though.
Yeah, we went to the because we saw. I think it was that when we went to the midnight showing.
Oh, okay.
And I think, again, I may be wrong on this one, but I think after Aurora happened, they ended up pulling the trailer.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they ended up pulling the trailer after the Aurora shooting.
Okay.
So they had to reshoot it, and that's why Gangster Squad was delayed.
The more you know.
Bling. I have said my piece on this one, JT. Justin.
Yeah, it's Justin's pick, and then I have one more. Yeah.
We don't have another one. My other one was the Darren Aronofsky's Batman.
Okay.
So we kind of work together on that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I got one more before Bill's final pick for the night. So we talked about this a little bit at one point, and I did some digging around. The film got shelved, I think, indefinitely at this point, but I would still like to see it at one point or another. For those of you who don't know, who don't know me for any period of time, in my top 10 favorite films of all time is 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Okay.
It is. It is one of my favorite films of all time. I gave it a 10 out of 10. It is up there for me. But they did so here's what I don't get. To my understanding, they did. I think it was wasn't Universal. It was MGM has the rights. So this movie, the first one came out in 1960. There's 4. It's based on a book. It's based on a series of books about like the sci-fi books, evolution of man, whatever, right? And pretty much, it's about like the origin of human beings, and it's a really slow, drawn out film. But Stanley Kubrick did a brilliant job with it, in my opinion. We actually did a movie commentary of this on our YouTube channel. Check it out. Back in 2018. But there's 4 books and there's 2 movies. To my understanding, and this is not even a postponement, I guess you could say, this is just a complete shelf movie. To my understanding, the book series went 2001: A Space Odyssey, 2010, 2061, and 3001. I've read all the books, believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen. I've read all the books in this series because I love the concept of it so much. So, to mind, and I did a little bit of digging around, but I believe the 3rd book was supposed to be a movie at one point, and they just never. To my understanding, it went through developmental hell at one point. I want to look it up. It's 2061, Odyssey 3 movie. and it just never. The book came out in 1987, and the second movie came out in 2000. The second movie came out in 1984. So this one came out shortly after the events of 2001 and 2010. And I've read it was not as good as the book was one thing, but they were supposed to make a movie at one point, and apparently it in 2000, like right at the turn of the millennium, they were looking to do this, and they wanted to get sadly, what's his face died. The guy who played Frank Poole in the first one. I think Gary Lockwood. Thank you everyone for helping me out there. Gary Lockwood died, and they wanted to get Tom Hanks to play Frank Poole, while Keir Duell, I believe, is still alive. If I'm not mistaken. He's still alive. But unfortunately, there was supposed to be a film, and they just said, you know what, it's been so long since the 1984 film. Let's just shelve it indefinitely. And it really sucks, because I love this like world that they live in, the world of like the human beings, the earth, and the monolith, and all this stuff. I'm a sucker for it. I was kind of raised on this stuff, truthfully, but unfortunately, I don't think we'll ever see it, and that's why I think it got shelved. And plus, if it came out today, people are like, "Oh, what's this?" I mean, they might know the score because like the bombastic score of 2001 and whatnot, and that was used in the movies. But I don't think that this would happen today at all, and that's why I think it got shelved permanently, which really sucks, because it's such a very, very vast world that they created in the books. It's ripe for mining. So if you're a producer out there listening to us, just give us a call, and we'll get 2% of the profits. Yeah. So, but yeah, I don't think we'll ever see this, but I do know this went through hell for developmental process. I would still love to see it. Still love to see it to this day, but I don't think we're ever going to get it. So do you guys know what I'm talking about with this? Are you familiar with this stuff at all?
I remember.
I wasn't familiar with Tom Hanks possibly directing one, but
No. He was going to star in it, not direct it. Sorry.
star one.
And I mean, Bill, you got anything?
Yeah, I wanted to say, I remember you guys actually talked about this on the episode I wasn't here on, when you said, because it was more books.
Yeah, there's 4 books total.
Yeah. So they just shelved it indefinitely because they couldn't get the people, or?
Basically, it was because like the people, and also like there was like Gary Lockwood dying in like the late 90s. Even the guy was really old too. He was on Star Trek, the original series, and he was like a regular on there, whatever. You know, not a lot, but a little bit, you know. So
well, here's what you got to know, and this is like a big problem when you make sequels like years and years later.
Yeah,
is like, you know, you don't know is everyone from the sequel, from the original film, are they still alive? Or they, you know?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Keir Duell, the guy who played Dave Bowman in the original movie, actually is still alive. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he's still alive. I think Keir Duella. Yeah, I think. Anyways, but yeah, he's like really old now, but still. Yeah, he was born 19. He's 86 years old. He's not going to return now. So, but yeah. So whatever. Justin, do you have anything to say on this?
Not really.
Yeah, would have been cool.
I mean,
yeah, it would have been cool.
Just to finish out that trilogy or the quadrilogy, you know, finish all 4 films.
Yeah.
So, but that's me. That's my last pick of the night. 2061, The Odyssey That Never Happened.
Okay. Well,
and Bill,
I have one, and this film is a film that took forever. I've talked about it before, but this is a strap-in.
Yeah.
The 2004 Phantom of the Opera, directed by Joel Schumacher. Okay. So, yeah, this took forever to make. And it was delayed. Well, here's what happened. It all started in 1989. Warner Brothers, a year after The Phantom hit Broadway, Warner Brothers purchased the film rights. Granted, Andrew Lloyd Webber, completely artistic control. He a bunch of A-list directors actually wanted to direct the film, but Andrew Lloyd Webber had his eye on one man. And unfortunately, Justin,
It had to be Joel.
because he was impressed with his use of music in of his movie The Lost Boys. So the original movie was going to star the original Phantom, Michael Crawford, and the original Christine, Sarah Brightman, who was actually Andrew Lloyd Webber's wife at the time. They were set to film the movie in 1990 with a $25 million budget. But then the start date was pushed to November of 1990 to move it to Prague. And then what happened was Andrew Lloyd Webber and Sarah Brightman ended up getting divorced.
I'll do it.
And there was a lot of legal things that had to be settled. And Joel Schumacher just had so many other projects. And it resulted.
Until Batman and Robin happened.
Yeah, it was as a result of Phantom of the Opera in development window throughout the 90s. In February 1997, Schumacher considered returning, but eventually dropped out in favor of the sequel that never happened, Batman Unchained, Runaway Jury, and Dreamgirls. But in 1997, you know who was actually in, who the studio actually wanted to be the Phantom? John Travolta.
Ugh.
And also, but there was also, they were thinking about Antonio Banderas, which I actually think wouldn't have been a terrible choice.
Not terrible, but still kind of out of place.
Really? How so?
I don't know. I feel like he'd be if you get Antonio Banderas, you're looking for someone who will show his face.
Well, because I think what started the rumors was he performed a song from Phantom at Andrew Lloyd Webber's 50th birthday celebration. He was like, "Ooh, is he going to be the Phantom in the film?" And he already undertook vocal preparation. So Schumacher and Lloyd Webber restarted development for the film in December of 2002. It was then announced that Andrew Lloyd Webber's production company, you know what it's called?
Phantom.
The Really Useful Group. Do they sound useful?
Nope.
Hi, we're the Really Useful Group. We're so useful. Justin, did the Really Useful Group sound useful? Anyway, and they purchased the film rights to produce it independently. And Andrew Lloyd Webber invested $6 million of his own money.
Oh, wow.
And then the casting was, Travolta was considered, Banderas was considered. They also had Hugh Jackman considered too, which I think that would have been a good choice.
Okay, I can get him a little bit
because he does have
musical background.
But he was filming Van Helsing at the time, so yeah, so they ended up going with Gerard Butler because Joel Schumacher was impressed with his performance in Dracula 2000.
Right.
But he had no professional singing experience and took a few voice lessons and sang Music of the Night for Andrew Lloyd Webber. And it also, Katie Holmes was actually going to be Christine. She was the front runner, but then she was replaced by, she had already started working with a vocal coach, but she was replaced by Anne Hathaway. Because Anne Hathaway is a classically trained singer.
Right.
So I think that would have not been the worst choice in the world. Justin, what do you think? But she dropped out because there was conflict with Princess Diaries 2 Royal Engagement. And she was contractually obligated to make because she had to satisfy who? The mouse.
The mouse.
If there's one thing you don't mess, with, it's
The mouse.
The mouse.
So then they finally sent on their 63rd pick, not their. Well, okay, if you count Brightman from almost 15 years ago, so they settled on their 4th pick, Emmy Rossum, And yeah, so this was a movie that of a beloved Broadway musical, which goes off stage this April.
Yep.
The film didn't do well with critics, though. The film did, so this film took 15 years to get off the ground.
That's crazy.
But you know what? Here's something I will that I will applaud Andrew Lloyd Webber for. Even though I'm not the biggest Joel Schumacher fan, I will say this. Even though I wasn't a big fan of his movies, I heard he was a really nice guy. Andrew Lloyd Webber, and I'll let you guys chime in on this. He had to wait so long. Andrew Lloyd Webber made the movie he wanted to make. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He made the movie he wanted to make. He knew he wanted Joel Schumacher. He knew he wanted Gerard Butler. And listen, whether we liked it or not, he made the movie he wanted. And maybe this wasn't the best, but you got to give credit for knowing what he wants, for knowing what he wanted. So, guys, any thoughts on how long it took this damn movie to get made?
No, I mean, you really hit the nail on the head there, buddy.
Yeah. I wonder why Michael Crawford dropped out, though. They said because Sarah Brightman, because her and Andrew Lloyd Webber went through a divorce, but it doesn't say why Michael Crawford dropped out.
Well, I think eventually he just aged out the part.
Yeah, because you know what? Like, the thing is with some musical, and this is going off a tangent, on some musical theater, some people say, oh, we should get the original cast back to do a movie production of it. Doesn't always work. Like an example, and this is not going in because this isn't really relevant, but the musical Rent, for example, when they did the movie version of it, they got most of the original cast back. But I think what the problem with that was, and this is about, again, actors aging out. When the Broadway show premiered, they were like in their 20s. 10 years later, this is about Bohemian and, coming out on all that. But then, 10 years later, they're all like in their mid-30s at this point.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, that's stuff because a lot of the themes in Rent and I don't mean like the themes, always fight for social justice and all that. I think that's all great. But, like the type that these people come off as, that's cool when you're like in your 20s. But when you're like in your 30s, it's
Yeah.
like, okay, guys, time to grow up a little bit.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I don't mean like fighting for social justice or anything. I mean like the attitude of a lot of these people. It's like, okay, guys, yeah, we get it. It's time to grow up. Go get a job or something.
Right.
Yeah.
But at least two of those cast members, one of them wasn't in the movie because she was actually pregnant, and the other one was because she just straight up admitted, you know what, I'm too old to be in this. I'm like, you know what? At least we can give her credit for being honest.
Mhm.
There you go.
Yeah, but you know what? Yeah, that's the thing with. I'm sorry, I went on a huge tangent here, but that's the thing with people who age out of musical roles.
Mm.
And this is why we shouldn't always put original cast members in movie adaptations. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. But yeah, so Phantom of the Opera, this thing took 15 years to get off the ground.
And oh boy, was it good.
I hope Andrew Lloyd Webber likes what he got.
I hope so too.
See, not what you asked for.
And you know what? But like I said, I think that shows he really put passion and he really had a vision. And whether we liked it or not, maybe to him it's irrelevant because he got what he wanted.
Right.
All right, guys. So do we got anything else?
I'm good. Are you guys good?
I'm good.
All righty. Well, listen, first and foremost, I want to thank all of you for watching, listening, however you enjoyed us tonight. Thank you to all of you who are interacting with us in the chat board as well. I want to thank Justin for joining us tonight. This was a very interesting topic. I want to thank him again for coming on as always. Seriously, you are the film nerd. You got this.
Mr. Dr. Professor Justin.
Excuse me.
PhD.
Add that in there. And I want to thank my co-host that I've been doing this forever with now. Bill, you are the man. Thank you so much for doing this with me.
Thank you.
And hey, we want to thank you for watching, listening, however you enjoyed us tonight. If you haven't already, click the subscribe button on our YouTube channel. We do tons of other content outside of Mixed Bag and career retrospectives as well. If you haven't already subscribed to us on Spotify and podcast format as well, we are available on all platforms. But yeah, so thanks so much for watching, listening, and for until next time, until next week on the Super Review Show. Stay safe. Take care.